Today we're going to start painting with complementary colors. Complementary colors are opposite on the color wheel. Purple and yellow are one set of complementary colors. Red and green are another set, and orange and blue are another set. Pick one set to start with. I decided to start with blue and orange. So in order to keep my painting clean, I decided to fold it up so that only one square was showing. That way I didn't get lost in my train of thought while I was painting and accidentally paint outside the box. So I folded all the other sections to the back, and I got some orange and I got some blue paint. Now, we're not painting a very big area, so you do not need a very large amount of paint. I would say a little tiny dollop the size of a dime or a nickel is about the size you need. You can always get more if you need it. Before you start painting and mixing your paints, use your plain color first. So I'm using just my plain orange, and I'm using the tip of my paintbrush like a pencil, like a colored pencil or a regular pencil. I'm using the tip of my paintbrush to draw with the paint. Take your time and outline the area that you want to paint orange. You can pick whatever area you want to start off with first on your painting, but outline it and then fill it in. You can paint a little quicker if the outline is painted first. Here I sped up my camera, but you could see I picked 2 or 3 areas to paint orange before I mix anything. Now I could have started with my blue first, but I decided to start with my orange. Now, while my brush still has orange on it, I took a little bit of white and I added white to my orange, and I made like a peach color. I'm going to paint a couple areas with that, or I'll save my brush for later, and I start with the blue and I paint 2 or 3 areas blue. Instead of switching back and forth between colors, try and use one color 2 or 3 times before moving on to the next. So before I mix a light blue, I made sure I did a bunch of spots blue, and then now I'm filling in some spaces with light blue. Fill in the entire square with different shades or values of your 2 complementary colors. So I'm mixing light blue and light orange and regular blue, all to fill in that square. Once that square is filled, we're going to talk about monochromatic colors. Mono means one and chromatic means color. So you're going to pick one color and mix it with white and black to make different values of that color. So I chose red. For this square, I'll obviously need my one color, red, and I'll also need just a tiny bit of black and white so that I can mix. But before I mix any of my color, I'm going to use the color without any black or white in it first. And I'm going to paint 2 or 3 areas with that plain red before I do any mixing. Again, I folded my paper over so that I would know that this is the only spot I need to paint. I picked a couple of spots and I painted them red. Again, take your time as you're painting. Channel your inner Bob Ross and paint very slowly. Make sure you're using the tip of your brush and paint very carefully. paint 2 or 3 spots with your regular color before mixing. And like I said, this is your monochromatic square, so you need to make a lot of different values of your color. And like I said, my color is red, so I'm making pink as one of my values by adding white to my red. Here I make a dark red by adding just a tiny bit of black to my color. Black tends to take over if you add too much. Start off with just putting a tiny bit of black in your paint before you add too much. Add more as you need it. Start off with just a little bit and add more as you need it. You can also make tones by mixing black, white, and your color. If you're running out of colors, you can make a tone. For my next square, I used another set of complementary colors, which are red and green. So again, before I mixed anything, I used a little bit of my red to fill in some areas, and then I'll fill in some areas with some green, and then I'll make some values of red and I'll make some values of green. For my last square, I chose to do a monochromatic purple square, so I did different values of purple. You can mix multiple values of light purple or dark purple, just add more white or more black. That will give you more shades or values of colors to add to your painting. Once your painting is completely dry and you are all finished, it is now time to outline your painting. I have ink markers that have India ink inside of them, but they need to be pumped on a piece of paper to get the ink to flow out the tip. Do not shake the ink markers because they will splatter ink all over the place. You do need a scratch piece of paper to help you to get the ink flowing to press on. So I used a Post-it and I pressed hard on my Post-it every once in a while to get the ink to come back through the tube. Sign your name on the front of your picture when you're all finished, tracing every single shape. And you're done.